welcome everybody here for today's special meeting of the board, Thursday, April 3rd, 2025. So if you'd rise with me, remove your cover for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Remain standing.
Please join me in the invocation. Lord, we just come before you and we thank you for the beautiful county that we live in. We just pray that you would give us wisdom and guidance in making the best decision for all the community of citizens that we have in this wonderful place. And I just ask for your blessing upon this time. In your name, amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Kelly. Roll call.
Commissioner Campbell.
Here.
Commissioner Epp.
Present.
Commissioner Vogelsong.
Here.
And clerk to the board, Kelly Campbell, present.
Thank you. Any amendments to the agenda?
No, sir.
Paul?
None.
None here. Okay, new business. Before we get into new business, I got a couple things to set the stage with right now. So everybody in this room has a vested interest in this meeting. They all had a vested interest in the meeting we had on Thursday. They have a vested interest in this septic system that Dave and the Round Mountain are working. I'll bet you $150. I'll bet you $300. Every one of you that are residents of this county have contributed to that sludge in that lagoon. You want to bet? And for whatever the reasons are, we're all of a sudden in a crisis. And I'm calling it a crisis because think about it. We've got a great community, great way of life that we want to keep. And in order to solve problems, it's my job, the leadership job of Round Mountain, the mayors of this town, the leadership of this county, the commissioners, to work together to come up with the best answer for everybody, for all the citizens, every one of you, because just for what I mentioned. I'm a little bit upset that people take rumors and turn them into facts for some reason. I mentioned the other night I had a rumor that Canada was hiding all this from the Round Mountain, the board, the water, everybody, to get it to be, for whatever reason, on the floor of the valley. Untrue. In order to make good decisions, you need to understand every angle, including the ones you don't agree with, so that you can understand it well enough to come up with the best answer for everybody. After that meeting on Thursday, each one of us did research to look at what are some options based on what we heard to solve the problem and when. And we had to do it quickly based on the crisis that's evolved, because nobody cleaned the lagoon since 1991 for whatever reason. And I don't know why in 1996 they didn't decide to clean it then. They never did. Or in 2005 they never did. And on. Why? Don't you all have a vested interest in the success? Because I'll tell you, brand new lights on the streets, pavement and sidewalks, a nice town hall and a park, and I can't, and the wind's blowing and nobody's there to enjoy it. Because without Round Mountain, without these lagoons, without the success of this, it turns into a ghost town. Why weren't we helping Round Mountain? Why didn't the county do more? I could have, every citizen in the county have a vested interest. Just what I said, I want my kids, my grandkids, and their grandkids to go here to the school. Without this being a success, there'll be no school. That's why I asked all the leadership to come. We've got the mayors, Tom Peck, is he here yet? Yeah, I invited him to the school districts, as well as the other district. We got fire here. You know, the fire department has a vested interest too. They would like to, you know, we all use that lagoon. We all want water. So why didn't we help them sooner? And that's what we've been doing as fast as we could. The minute I found out, I told you I went down there and we researched that. The fastest we could get a meeting together was 2 weeks later, because Dave had a commitment, couldn't get here. The school couldn't host us. I wanted to be in the school. Bigger room, better acoustics. But we're here now, and I got accused today of moving this meeting to a very small room so nobody could come and make a decision that to put it on the floor of the valley. Think about that. How do those rumors get around? Call the source. I'm gonna pass these around. Could you pass those out? This is my card, for those of you that don't know my number. And call the BOCC admin if you got a question. And she has a direct line to each one of us. And I always, whether it's timely or not, I'll answer any call I get. And so will these guys right here. So we're here because there is a solution based on a lot of things we did on Thursday night and an activity of us and Dave getting with people to understand what is another option. What's the best option? And I'm excited about what I'm hearing. And that's why on this agenda we put consideration of donating Round Mountain and the sanitation district money to offset the disposal costs. That's county money that we have, that we collected from the citizens of this county. And there's no reason why the citizens of this county shouldn't contribute to that. That's for sure. You just heard why. But I also think it's important for Paul and Mayor Wenzel, and Buck Wenzel, I should say, and Mayor Winkie, and fire department, the school district should pony into this donation too. It's not just us coming to on a white horse to bail everybody out, because our white horse isn't very big either. We need help. And we're gonna find out actually what the cost is gonna be here in a minute. And I wanted to make sure everybody that has a dog in the fight can hear this publicly and understand that this isn't, nobody's hiding anything. We've been very transparent in every move we've made, even here. So, and then we have a couple of considerations depending on what we do and understand here, and we'll make a motion about things that we can support and hopefully count on Mayor Winkie and Buck Wenzel, the mayor of Silver Cliff, to help as well as the other districts. So with that, I'm gonna put good old Dave back on the spot and tell us what you found, Dave, and what we might have a proposal here. Thanks.
No,
No.
Just speak loud.
Speak loud.
This will pick you up.
yeah,
So just to get you some numbers, lots of people can ask about numbers.
And where?
And where. So the original contract started a year ago with Denali. We interviewed three different sludge removal companies, and after getting those proposals from those three companies, we chose Denali, largely because they had the equipment to do kind of what I explained last Thursday. To do it in our unique situation where we couldn't drop the pond, we have to do it while the ponds are still full. So the original contract price was $238,000. That was with the understanding that we could try to find a place within a 10-mile radius of the ponds to discharge of the biosolids. So it's $4,000 for testing, $5,000 for mobilization, $229,000 to do the sludge removal. So that's where we went. When I do these projects from history, I usually put in a large contingency into that. I put in $62,000 of contingency into this project, just in case something like what we have happening right now happens. So we projected cost of this, we put at $300,000. So we have that tucked away to do that. After the meeting on Friday, I decided, you know, there's significant pushback, justified or unjustified, doesn't matter, the realization that I really didn't want to get into a war to try to do this. I have a vested interest to try to get that pilot plant started. I have 180 days to get that on. So I called on Friday, I called Denali and asked them to sharpen their pen and see what kind of a cost it would, additional cost it would take to basically truck this out of county to some of their approved land sites down below. So I was pleasantly surprised. I'd kind of done my own thinking that probably 250, 300,000 is probably a realistic price. They came back with an additional $98,600 to run the sludge out
of the plant. That's basically $4,000 for testing, $5,000 for mobilization, and $327,600 to remove the sludge and run it out the county. So we had the 62,000. We requested from the county. I got hold of Mr. Lucas and requested a contribution of $40,000 from an outside source, and then Round Mountain would pay the $58,600 out of the contingency, and that would be $3,400 remaining contingency for project completion. Any questions?
And
Paul?
I do. I don't want to go with why people rejected and so forth, but we've got those two empty lagoons, they're free, it is right next to the ones that hold the water. Let's just put it in there.
It is illegal to do that. CDPH will not allow us to do that
Why?
because they're not approved as treatment cells yet, and they're not lined. We've already went through that process.
Excuse me?
They are not lined and they're not approved as a treatment process.
Are they too close to Great Creek too, weren't they? Not, okay.
No, it's just,
Okay, well, I have more questions here in just a second. I want to point one thing out too right now. He said a contingency. All good program managers, leaders, you can bet on the come and you can make a plan. The minute you execute it, it's different. You react to the forces that hit you, and costs overrun if you underestimate, and you got a lot of slop left over you could use for other things if you didn't. That's why, based on that, sounds really good. So, yeah, let's get the county to pony up 40K, and then we're home free. No, because we need contingency. It's our contingency fund that we're using for other things that you want as citizens as well. And so that's why it's important for everybody that has a dog in the fight to contribute to the success of this program and keep him and not on this. I don't know if you can do it for the small contingency you got left. It's still an unknown. By the way, it could fail. It's a full-scale development model. It's got a lot of promise, but there's no guarantee, and there's no guarantee that something won't break in the middle of the process and cause us to look for more money somewhere. So that's why it's important for us to give him as much pad as he can get to do his job, leave the county with enough for us to do our job. And Lucas will be able to answer some questions on that, as well as you all. So that's why we can ask some more questions, and I'll throw out what I think we could do with you all, if you can bear the burden I'm gonna throw out on you. Any questions for Dave? Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm Mark BOCC. I have to be careful what I say because I'm on both boards. But I certainly agree. I've been a project manager on a lot of activities in the past. A larger contingency than $3,000 or whatever seems to be good business practice. So I would hope that various parties would understand that.
well,
Back
the
here.
contingency, just to let you know, it's not, the whole project's $1.6 million. So this contingency was just on this desludging because it's kind of a sub-project of the larger project.
But the larger project could draw on this too.
$1.6 million, that has its own separate contingency in that.
Got a question back here, go ahead. What have we got? State your name, stand up.
Elijah Murphy, sir. Has there been any consideration put into searching for grants to assist with the project?
So I have acquired, for the $1.6 million project, we've got about $575,000 through DOLA and a $60,000 grant from a company called Epic, a private firm.
Okay.
We can't get grants for things that are called typical maintenance expenses.
Somebody like the Sierra Club might really like this place, Christine.
Right, but it would have to be a private firm, no state or federal will give grants.
That's why I
for
suggest the Sierra Club. And possibly some of the other environmental organizations might have a vested interest in seeing such a beautiful area as Christine.
Very good point. And
I'll talk to anybody that has money.
I'll tag on to that. after the meeting, remember I said we all did this, and after hearing what Dave's option was also, I personally got a hold of, went out to the landfill. The landfill has the topography underground and everything, the volcanic ash and everything to do this. The problem is certification. And it took us 4 months just to get the landfill certified the way it is now for the new part of it. And I went out there, we looked at options of how can we do it to cut a couple windrows like Dave and Niket had proposed in that meeting, and then let it dry out a little bit there and backfill it there, and there's no volume to it once it's dried out. That's an option, and that saves him the contingency money as well. Problem is timing. So that didn't seem to be as viable as it could have been. It's still an option. And I'll bet you $1.50 we can get the state to, how could they shut us down as a community if they don't allow an extension to go after a grant or after some other options? So that's a good question. And we'll wait and see what happens, but very good question. Anybody else in here? I got a question online. Joy, you there?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Can you hear us?
Yes. Okay, so what part of that proposal is the cost of trucking and what part of it is for actually getting the sludge out of the pit? It's
The
actually
additional
costing the
cost
day.
is $98,600 trucking cost.
Okay. And have
A
we
lot
asked?
cheaper than
have
$1.5
you-
million, isn't it? When you go
What's
after
that?
facts. It's a lot cheaper than $1.5 million that they were throwing around the other night.
Yeah, I'm not sure where that number came from. That's kind of odd. How many truckloads is that? Do you know? And how far is it being hauled?
If they're doing 6,000 gallon loads, that would be 200 trips.
And they have other trucks, did you say?
Yeah, and if we can get,
Okay.
one of the reasons we're trying to get this through is if we can get an agreement with Denali fast enough, they can juggle their projects and free up 8 trucks to make this process go on a time.
And it makes sense that way.
Okay. Have we had gotten the report back from Denali that he was talking about the other day about the 3 parts per billion and that kind of thing?
Haven't seen it. I've requested it, haven't seen it. If we
Okay.
go this route. it's a
Doesn't
good
matter
point.
this route, other than it goes to
Well,
somebody else.
it only matters in that I'm just, I want to know how much of what we heard the other day was accurate, since you just said 1 million and now we're down to a lot less than that. And so I guess one of my questions is, how about Denali making it a fixed fee proposal? I mean, would they do that? Do we have to have the contingency if they do a fixed fee?
You always do contingencies, it doesn't matter what.
You can fix it.
So you could say that their proposal is a fixed.
You're holding them to
Yeah.
that amount, is that what you're doing,
Right,
Dave?
but even in the contract, every contract has wiggle room in the contract for, unexpected challenges, something that comes up. Every contract that you're in, that you agree to, always has that wiggle room in there.
Okay. And I don't think I heard, how far are they hauling this stuff away?
I'm not 100% sure, I know that they have some fields out, excuse me,
I'm sorry.
out near Yoder, Colorado. It's about 110 miles away from us. I'm not sure, they do a whole lot along the front range from Trinidad all the way up to Greeley, so they have a bunch of approved places there, so whatever makes sense for them.
Okay. And I assume we'd get some kind of receipt saying that they're actually bringing it there.
So do you go to get your oil changed, do you get in the face of the people and say, hey, where are you taking my used oil? Are you taking it to a correct place? Or do you do that when you pump your septic system out? Do you get in the face of your pumper and say, I need you to prove to me that you're taking this to a approved place? Or are you gonna leave it there? So
They can't
that kind of
remain.
a request is,
It's 109 miles, according to
so
the expert
it's a
here.
bit of a outside the loop request.
Okay?
Hmm.
It'd be in their best interest. What would they financially gain if they drop it in the middle of, you know, hard scrabble paths or something.
If it's
It
in
just
Custer
doesn't make
County,
sense.
it matters, but
Yeah.
other than that, I don't care. I do care, but, okay, we got another question.
Well,
Paul?
you suggested that these other political subdivisions like Silvercliff and Westcliff and Fire Department help share those expenses. I don't disagree. What's the?
Here's what I would propose, and then we can talk about it. I would think 5,000 from you and Silver Cliff and the school district. I would think fire district, library, the small taxing districts could pool funds and come up with a few bucks. I don't care what it is, because it's good faith, it's a fact that we all use it, and they have a big interest in the vitality of the businesses and the school in town.
Are you saying 5,000 each for Silvercliff and Westcliff,
Yeah.
or 5,000?
I'm just throwing that out to start the discussion.
Okay.
And because then that leaves us with, what's 15 less 40, 20, 35? 35 plus a little bit less, and that maybe 30,000 from the county. We're going to take a lion's share of it.
Well, my board has to approve
I know.
this, which is on the 15th. So
Right.
Mark and I, he's Mayor Pro Tem, we'll take it to our board on the 15th. I think we have funds to do that. I'm not going to speak for any other,
No, I hear you.
so we can do that, I believe.
And we have time. How much time do we have, Dave?
They need to know by the middle of next week if this is a go. So basically, I'll probably have to take a reasonable chance that if I get enough verbal commitments that I think this is actually gonna fly, we're gonna sign that so that we can keep it going, and we'll have to figure out
Figure out how to catch up
right.
if it drags on, but I see no reason for it to drag on unless you ask me to go back to the state to get a permit to put in our landfill.
Right. So if it has to go to boards and that for approval, yeah, we'll take that chance.
Okay? And as far as the other districts are concerned, to get together, we need to figure out how much that could total up to be. It could be $1,000, it could be 3,000 or 4,000 or more. Question in the back.
Well, first
Name
of all,
again.
I'm sorry, Elijah Murphy. I would like to possibly recommend that you start a GoFundMe page, because, well, I'm serious. This is a community thing, and if this were to be put in this valley, it impacts everybody down the Arkansas all the way to Pueblo and beyond, okay? That's kind of the way I see it.
The GoFundMe page,
We actually are legally, I have to check into that.
Okay.
well,
Legal reality.
it could be that there's options to do that maybe as a community, you know, on your own, we could do that. And what you could do is backfill, you could reimburse the library district for throwing in $500 or whatever.
All right, is the water district a government entity, or the water treatment a government entity?
That is.
We are listed as a quasi-governmental entity.
They are a taxing district.
Okay.
We are a special district, which is a really good definition.
And the county, you can always donate to the county anytime you want, and we'll give you a donation for your taxes, but that's a fact. Anybody can donate money to the good of your citizens. That's what we do.
Well, like I said, this thing would impact way beyond.
It does.
Sure it does.
itself.
Does.
And that looks like a possible solution, so maybe one private organization.
But I can't
Around here might get with that.
ask Fremont County to do
Is
it.
there okay, are we already in the planning process or looking at a future solution to prevent this from happening in the future, getting the treatment system up? Whether you bring in a plasma incinerator or whatever type of system, or one of the water purification systems, whatever.
Okay.
the solution might be.
Did you miss the meeting the other night?
Sir, I was not at the meeting.
Okay, and he did explain the other option, and he can do a quick summary, but yes, there is, but that's the one I mentioned as a prototype or a
So
beta
there's
test.
already, that's all I wanted to hear was yes, it's.
As we're in discussions, in my perfect world, if we could get the county to change their landfill permit to allow biosolids, the biosolids that the new plant will make will be inert.
And how are they performed? What are you doing?
It's one of the few, if you're really into the concerns about PFAS, the treatment system actually is one of the few in the country that actually destroys that chemical bond, so that stuff would be inert. And so these would
Already
be,
underway.
And by the way, Paul, you tell him what you're doing.
There's a couple of companies that I've talked to, and the one that is the most promising, I just asked Dave earlier before the meeting began that, for him and I to get together. I've been on the phone with a president of a company that's called, Pro One Water, and they do drinking water treatment. And, I called because they branch out in different things out there, and I actually worked with the company, back in the oil field. And, so what we did in the oil field is we put together a drilling fluid that was actually friendly for water tables. And so I called him up and talked to him for about an hour and a half, and he said that they are currently in the process of finding out how to treat sludge. And I about fell over when I heard that over the phone. So I'm speaking with him. I'm going to inform David after this meeting where we're at in that conversation and what can be done. But what this does is in the treatment, all the way through the process of water treatment sewage plant, is to make it to where you were talking about splitting the two forever chemicals. He's talking about eliminating them once you do that.
Correct.
So we need to get together, and that's where I'm at on that. And believe it or not, we've only had 2.5 weeks to get this all together.
So in the meantime, we will work work getting our landfill certified for the potential for that to happen.
right, we'll be paying customers. It's not like we expect the county just to take it, but we'll be paying customers to
Right.
do it.
And Dave, could you expand on that it's not a liquid that's going in, it's more of a
It would be more of a cake.
biscuit type thing,
Yeah.
yes?
How long do you think it would take to get the landfill permitted for
I
that?
think if it were normal time, it'd take 5 years.
Yeah, it's,
And that, but we're gonna get, but we can push it. We've got people, I have contacted people in this valley that know personally the person in charge of all landfills in the state of Colorado. I think we can have a meeting with them. I think we could tell them that we have an issue. It's a crisis here, but it's also a crisis with 2,000 other communities of this type that are wanting to put this technology in operation. And they're looking at us to be successful.
And we will be.
And that could push that up by a year. I bet we could do it in a year if we really push it.
A year?
Maybe, if you go from the top,
Yeah.
rather than waiting for somebody to take a phone call, well, I'll get to you next week.
Hunt though, in terms of this problem.
Yeah.
Yes.
Jim,
Couple of comments.
name,
James Gilbert. Couple of comments and a question. First of all, Round Mountain already has a plan for the future of this thing, and it's an excellent plan. And as you said, it's going to impact counties all around the state. So moving forward on that plan, that's going to cost $1.6 million. It's already taken care of by the Round Mountain issues. Needs to move forward. Secondly, about the Pristine Valley business, until I see some data that says the nitrates and nitrogen from the chemical fertilizers applied to the valley, you can't call this valley pristine. That's what's polluting Lake Deweese. So until that starts dropping, I don't think the concern for the pristinity of the valley is a legitimate call. But anyway, it's all moot. The question I have is, how much money does the county have? And if the county can
bankroll,
grease this process, bankroll the initial, and have the other entities and other solutions reimburse the county.
yeah, good question, and we'll get to that. I agree with you. Paul wants to answer part of your question, then I have a point to make.
I wasn't gonna bring it up at the meeting, but during our phone call yesterday for our hour and a half with Pro One Water, is that one, he addressed that very thing about what is currently in our water and everything coming downstream to Lake Deweese. And I said, what about our toxic algae we have in Lake Deweese? And he says, I'm glad you asked that question, because he's working on the actual zebra mussels, making them not be able to hold on and get rid of the, it's
Barnacles on us.
what I've found out in the last night's phone conversation, is, there's a lot of things that we can work together and take care of multiple things that are wrong right now and clean up our future. And we even talked about cleaning up the streams coming in at the headwaters.
Yeah, and that's it. Good point too, Jim, on the fertilizers in the valley. What do you call it? This creek has been named,
It's been
designated.
listed and impaired now, we're going, in June, it'll be 9 years.
9 years impaired, meaning you can't drink it, you can't swim in it, you don't want it, and you got algae. It's because of the techniques currently used and the chemicals currently used to irrigate our fields. Yeah, everybody wants them, if fertilizer is good, a lot more is better. It gives it more green. Well, that's not the case. It goes in, it subs, it goes down, it hits the creek, and down it goes. And especially in a swamp area, people think, well, I got a lot of water here. The water table comes up above the ground. That's bad because it just washes. You might as well put the fertilizer. It's a technique. Fertilizer up here, let it wash down into the stuff down there anyway. So there's things you can do now, but then you got to control maybe the chemical compositions of it, of the new fertilizers that come around. But that's not the problem we're solving today. That's something we have to solve, though. I would love to. I learned to water ski on that lake. I don't want to do it anymore, if they would allow it. But I want my kids to have the pristine valley that you're talking about that I grew up in. And I could tube down Grape Creek, by the way, all the way to the dam, and did it. Another question.
Just a comment related to that. Round Mountain, since its inception in 1975, has never discharged to Grape Creek. We've always put it in large infiltrator beds located about a half mile away.
And the issue is, if you continue doing what you're doing, what's going to happen?
Well, right.
Then it will.
Yeah, it will. We need, one of the things you need to understand is we're under an operational crisis. So 2015, the last infiltrator bed that we had went bad. So that's when we got under a compliance schedule with CDPHE. We initially wanted to discharge to the stream, but in 2016 it was listed as impaired. CDPHE pushed us off that stream because of that, because the limits would be too hard to get to. They put us back onto groundwater discharge. We went and designed for that. CDPHE asked us to do some deep soil core sampling of that area, and it turned out there was a lot of volcanic silt and clay, and they rejected that site. We then looked up and down the valley, 2 miles each way, to try to find suitable soils. It's all the same soil, and if you've ever dug around here, you know that. So we got forced to go back to the stream, and because it was polluted, our new limits were extremely high.
Higher than the fertilizer limits.
Oh, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy what we have to try to meet. So had the stream not been listed as impaired, we would have had a treatment solution in 2018. We were well on the way. So here we are, 10 years later. We still have to put our treated effluent someplace. It just doesn't go away. So
Where is it now? And tell
so
them
the
what's your
CDPHE has allowed us to do a surface discharge on 40 acres that we have. It used to be an old tree farm. That was a temporary thing to get us through until we got the new plant in. And that works from the end of May till the end of December. From January through the end of March, 3 months, we play what we call whack-a-mole. We have 3 different old treatment infiltration galleries that we keep running it around to. When it starts to view its ugly head, we move it to another one, we move it. The problem is, one of these years, we're gonna run out of luck, and it's just gonna not take, and we're gonna have a spill. And then the same people that are yelling at us now are yelling at us like, hey, why didn't you take care of the solution earlier? Well, we've been trying for 10 years. So you might be nervous that I'm pushing this. Well, I've been pushing this since 2015. This is the 10th anniversary of trying to get a treatment solution.
Right, a new technique should include more communications. There should be meetings regularly, if not monthly, with the towns and the county and the Round Mountain, because we all have that vested interest in the success for you moving forward. Online, we got Matt Miles. Matt,
I don't know if you have me or not. Do you have me?
got you now.
Pardon me?
Yes.
Okay, I got you. I didn't understand. It's kind of echoey. I understand, uh, Mr. Snyder, that you've been working with Denali now for a year. Did I hear that?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
That's better.
And
Echoes.
and um and I understand that Denali is agreeable to hauling the material from the ponds down off the hill for less than $100,000. Is that correct?
Correct.
And what efforts did you make when you first started dealing with Denali over a year ago to determine if there was some alternative other than dumping the sludge on the Johnson Ranch? And perhaps maybe did you ever ask Denali, well, is there any chance you might haul it off the hill for us?
The original discussions, we were trying to keep it as economically viable as possible. So knowing that biosolids land application is normed through the state, that's why we pursued it.
So no effort whatsoever was made with Denali to try to haul it off the hill in lieu of pouring it on the Johnson Ranch. Is that correct?
Correct. Until
Now,
it became a significant issue.
it wasn't a significant issue. Is that right?
No,
Okay. You were at the podcast Wednesday night a couple of weeks ago, or a week ago, weren't you?
yes, sir.
And you forgot to bring the chemical report that listed the PFAS levels in that report, didn't you?
Yes, sir.
And you had Luke Bond's letter that said that the state of Colorado would not permit dumping of these sludge materials out in the open, out on the land, if the PFAS levels exceeded 50 parts per billion, didn't you?
That was my understanding, yep.
And you brought Mr. Bond's letter to the podcast, didn't you?
Hey,
Part of it, yes, get to the point.
Matt, get to the point.
Get to the point.
We agree, we don't want to have this happen again, and it could have been better if we'd have gone public sooner to get experts like you and others to talk about it, and we could have come up with what we're gonna do now is get rid of it. But there's no point in, we've made that point pretty clear, a lot of culpability here all the way around.
And the PFAS levels in the report that you had were 61 parts per billion, weren't they?
Yep. We realized
you
that
had-
that was early report and that was incorrectly treated or incorrectly sampled.
Oh, and we never have seen the correct report, have we?
I do not have that in my hot, sweaty palms yet, nope.
And you had that PFAS report that Jordan Hedberg got from the paper, for the paper. You had that report for months, didn't you?
Oh,
No?
I'd say if 2 months is months, yeah, I guess you could say technically yes.
Be careful because Mr. Hedberg knows when you gave it to him.
All right,
So-
look, that's just, Matt, that's enough now. I agree with you. There's a lot of problems that could have been looked at 2 months ago sooner maybe, but we didn't. Nobody did. And Round Mountain, I know, will start executing differently and as they, with meeting the communications requirements we need to, on all things, not just this. I think it's bigger than that. We need to start turning over and managing our county like a professional organization and our towns, businesses and all that matter. So unless you're gonna object to hauling it out of here, Matt, come up, what else do you need to know?
Well, I do have one other thing. I mean,
Okay.
why wasn't this turned over to the citizens of the county months ago in the interest of transparency and let us try to help solve it.
Well, that's what I pointed out in the meeting we had on Thursday, Matt, and the minute we found out, we got it in front of the citizens immediately. And so, point taken, it should have been, could have been, should have been, you know, but, we're here where we are now. I want to solve.
Mr. Kanda, I apologize sincerely then for even bringing this up because I couldn't hear what was going on at the meeting last Thursday night. Will you please accept my apology?
Yes, and I hear you. I get a lot of complaints on the owl.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's the only questions I have.
All right, thank you. Somebody hadn't spoke yet. Steve, and then we'll come over here.
Steve and Rory, Dave, I just was curious, how deep is that volcanic layer and how thick is it?
We went down 70 feet.
And if you heard.
That whole layer is all.
That whole layer, we hit bedrock at 70 feet.
And in fact, we've got several formations like that in this valley, and we're lucky to have that for the future, whatever may happen. I've just lost your name.
Shelley Larson.
Shelley.
It sounds like you have a proactive solution moving forward. The reactive solution to this particular crisis is to truck it out to the least amount possible.
Right.
There were numbers thrown around, and I know some of us are time crunched, and it sounds like you guys are too.
Yep.
40,000 minus 15 if it went to the towns and the fire would do 25.
No, towns and school.
Towns and school. Oh, not fire?
Fire, we're going to throw in with the other taxing districts.
I think the
to
big
raise some
question
money.
today is, what are you guys looking for? Because that's what we're gonna walk
That's what we're
away
getting
from
to.
this meeting, and we have to bring it to our boards, which
Okay.
a lot of them are in the next week
Right.
or two.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
We're looking for 40,000 bucks. He's got 40. The 40 we're going to divide up. I would like to see 15, as we've talked about, and the whatever the amount that the other taxing districts can raise. And I'll turn it over to Lucas here because the money. Oh, wait a minute, you got another question.
Kathy Griffin, and I just have a question about the timing of committing the funds, all of this.
That's why I asked that earlier, Kathy. He said he needs it by next week, Wednesday.
Right, Wednesday next week.
So if I've only just began to learn a little bit about grants, but the suggestion that this young man brought up about, getting grants from Sierra Fund or conservation, that kind of thing. My understanding with grants is that once the project has been completed, you can't bring in money afterwards. You have to do it beforehand.
That's right.
So is there a way that, and maybe you know more about grants, do we realistically have time to go after any of these suggestions that he made?
No.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Thank you.
It's usually a minimum of 6 to a year-long, 6 month to year-long process to acquire grants.
You can have a go-to.
Hold on, stand up, state your name.
Oh, Adrian Washington, you mentioned the GoFundMe.
Sounds like the only solution.
You could have that up.
You can have that anyway, you bet.
I don't know if a special district's legally.
You don't have the page, it's money coming into you as a donation from somewhere.
Yeah, but we can't have it under, I don't believe, I'd have to check legal, but I don't believe we could have a GoFundMe under.
Not under Round Mountain, no, it's GoFundMe to solve the crisis Custer County has, whatever you want to call
Days fund.
it. Okay, any other quick questions?
Just one, sir.
Stand up again, stand up.
Sorry, Elijah Murphy. Does anybody know of a 501c around Valley that might be interested in taking up the GoFundMe cause?
Could be.
Let's talk that.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about where we're gonna get funds and what we can bankroll or not.
So the $40,000 was gonna come out of the county's contingency fund. That's where we placed $385,000 of LATCF money that was left over after earmarking. So that isn't property tax dollars, that is income tax dollars paid by all income taxpayers. So that's where I was going to recommend that we take the money out of to upfront Dave, make sure that he had the money to sign that contract and move forward with this pilot project. We've often talked that Custer County leads the way and Round Mountain is leading the way for about 1,000 other communities and their sanitation sewage problems that they're going to have with the state, so, that's where the money's coming from, if you have questions about that.
And we have the money to bankroll this proposal that we've laid out. So you can go to your trustees, or GoFundMe pages, and you can go to the GoFundMe page and raise the money anyway, because who knows what's gonna happen for the good of the county. Okay,
One thing that I was looking forward with is that we can take care of the situation right now. And we work together for future. We may not even have this problem come down the road, just by different treatments and everything that are coming available that have not even hit the market yet. And that's what I'm working on, aside of this here.
question back, Ann.
And
Stand up.
In line with the.
Stand up, Ann.
In line with the thinking of the citizens helping, why doesn't everybody in this room help pitch in? Talk to your family, friends, and neighbors,
Spread the word.
and we can help out. It affects all of us.
It does.
Yep, that'll help with the funds.
Business people on Main Street too.
That's what I'm really disappointed with. Where are all the business people that should care right now? You know, I know.
They even know about this.
That's the problem.
I get my sneakers on, don't know.
You know, the problem, let me tell you this, Jeremiah called me this morning, where's the meeting? Because it's at 9 o'clock, and I said, no, well, he said, well, I got a meeting that's at 9 and one at 3, which one is it? I said, it's at 1. That's how rumors went, instead of going to the horse's mouth or looking on the webpage, it's on our webpage.
Okay.
Anyway.
Well, there's.
Wait a minute, Paul.
Yeah.
Back in the back.
I'm sorry.
Terry Matthews, Lucas or Bill, you must have done some back of the envelope kind of figuring what you're looking for from each district.
That's what.
That would really be helpful for us. We meet next week, and so.
From the library.
From the library.
Well, that's, you know, if I said I want $1,000, what are you gonna do? You're gonna roll over and say, I gotta buy books.
I mean, it sounds like you kind of want to divide this up.
Well, so,
A few
but,
of the districts, so.
yes, but that's why
There
I'm,
had to be some sort of calculation
Well,
you were sort of figuring on.
yeah, I'd like 5,000 out of it, all of you.
So let's just put that rumor to bed. That was Bill Kanda.
Yeah, that's right.
That did that on his own, because we make decisions as a group
We
here.
wanted to discuss it.
That was, this is the first time we're discussing going out to separate entities.
Right.
So, I was willing to put the full $40,000 up of income tax dollars. That's everybody donating to this.
Yeah.
Effort. Dave may have to come back to the citizens again for more later. We don't know what the state's gonna do. They have been, okay, Dave, here's, this is, as long as you build to this, we're good. And he gets just about there, finds the funding for it, and then they go, nope, you gotta build to this. So they keep changing they keep moving the goalposts on him. And if any of you have played any sports at all, if the goalposts you quit playing the game. But he stayed in it and he keeps playing the game, and it's unfortunate that we're in this situation, that we're in, but we're in it, and we're in it all together. Let's be careful not to beat the businesses up, because we don't pay the businesses to collect the city sales tax, the state sales tax, and the county sales tax.
Right.
So let's be careful that we don't beat up the businesses for not being here. Yeah, sure, they have a vested interest, but they're running their businesses, so let's be careful.
Good point.
That we don't do that.
And when I said bankroll, that we have to decide, we haven't decided to do it yet. That's why this says, here's a resolution to do it. If we do it, this is the proposals, we're throwing it out to help share it with us, because things that come up in the future with us as a county, maybe we're gonna need another $20,000 that we had banked on that we don't have now, or the Round Mountain or whatever. So if we can raise the money, fine, but we're gonna have to move forward, like Lucas said, with this meeting. That's the whole point, but I wanted to get this on the table. Go ahead.
Kathy Griffin, with regards to setting precedent, what have these funds been used for in the past? And if we use them for this now, what other kind of issues are gonna come up in the future where they're gonna be crisis, I think was the word that you mentioned in the beginning, Bill?
So I kind of largely put this 385 aside so that if we have an 8-foot snow, I've got some contingency to go after. We have a fire, our sheriff has some money to go after. We've got a chunk of money. If he thinks that pulling in a $30,000 plane load of fire retardant will save hundreds of millions or tens of millions of dollars worth of damage, I wanted the money there, and we already have it earmarked, and it's there to go forward with such a project. So that's kind of what I had that there for. We've used LATCF money to, we put $400,000 for workforce housing, because that was within the criteria of LATCF funds. And then we gave about around 42,000 to the recycle center, if I remember correctly. So LATCF money is largely, you can do whatever you need to with it for your community.
Yeah, and an emergency is what he's referred to. We don't know, snow is an example, but who knows what could come. And the county's not allowed, as you know, to go spend more money than we have. We can't do it. Neither can the towns, really. So, all right, Jim, and then I got one online again.
Okay, just to be the devil's advocate and the object of everybody's ire, obviously another way to raise the money is to increase mill levies in the special tax district or in the county. That's one obvious way. The LATCF funds come out of the American Recovery Act, and from what I read, you may be stretching the point of using this because you're using it for a purpose that's not county government purpose.
There were two funds, Jim, that you're got me confusing with. There was, it's true. The other one had timelines that were.
Well, the LATCF, which is Local Assistance
Right.
Tribal Consistency Fund, right? That's supposed to be used for government projects that fulfill a government purpose, with the idea this is county government purpose. The Round Mountain issue is a local taxing district purpose, which is not run by the county, so you're a little, and I won't talk to anybody else other than you guys if anything happens. But going back to the precedent that is being set by essentially bailing out a district because of whatever reason, and it's an emergency and it needs to be done, and I fully agree with it, and I think the county ought to pony up to $40,000 to make sure that we get moving. What I fear is, given what's happening in the country today, several other districts are going to be in equally dire crises. And what are we going to do then? Is the county going to bail them out too? Because we bailed Round Mountain, shouldn't the other taxing districts be expecting a little help from the county at that point?
Good point, good question. Citizens would have to make a decision, you're right.
Well, it sounds like you guys.
Well, but that's
make
who we
decisions,
represent.
not citizens.
Anyway, yeah, good point. Got a couple here yet. Online, we got Lockett Pittman, and then I got one other one. Lockett? Can't hear you yet. Is he on? Is he there?
You there, Lockett?
Okay, well, Lockett's working on that. Matt, you there? Matt had one last point. Matt?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me
Yeah.
okay?
Sir.
I want to pick up pretty much where Mr. Gilbert left off. I guess it was last year. I haven't been to the meetings to speak of, but I believe it was last year that the county so graciously gave some, and I think it was $200,000 or $300,000 or $400,000 of leftover COVID money up to the town of Silver Cliff for workforce housing. And I thought I heard that there were some lots that had been given to the town of Silver Cliff for the same purpose. Obviously, workforce housing, high density workforce housing is going to add to the problem. So I would imagine hopefully that's going to be on the back burner for a little while. I may be wrong about the funds and all, but I would ask, has anyone asked Mayor Wenzel if there's any chance he could give us some of the money back?
So the $400,000 was given, is still within county funds. It's in the workforce housing fund. It has not been given to the community of Silver Cliff. 7 lots that the money was donated to purchase the lots, if I have my facts correct. We did give to UCOG to do self-help housing. It's 1 house per lot. And the Workforce Housing Committee is working on a plan for 12 lots that the county owns that we were given money by the El Pomar Foundation to purchase for workforce housing. So Silver Cliff does not have any jurisdiction over that money as of yet.
Okay. Let's use it then.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Matt. Let's lock it back.
Yeah,
Thank you, Matt.
it's Sue, not Lockett.
Somebody said lock it, I'm sorry.
Well, it says Lockett, but I didn't change the name on his Zoom.
Okay.
I was just wondering whether you could make it easy for county residents to make individual contributions toward this through the Wet Mountain Valley Community Foundation. Or who would we write a check to?
Possibility that we can work later, that's not a bad idea. There's other ideas, pass the hat things. Thank you. That's a good point. Paul, you got another one? And then
Well, I
let's
would
go
just
on.
suggest you ask the community foundation for money. I did that a number of years ago, to fund the project, and they gave us $5,000.
Okay, well, we can do that, and
So I'm
if I would
just-
like to have the districts do that. You know, all of them together. We need to raise the money for the group. Not necessarily, but I want, like you said, everybody should have a dog in the fight. The foundation already does that, perhaps. You're right. Good point. Okay.
Just to answer that question.
Oh, you want to talk?
I'll tell. It came up, why is the county getting involved? And my outlook on this is if we don't get involved now for the future, it will become a county problem.
And we don't want to be running a septic system as a utility, because that's where the state will put it if they go bankrupt. Bad.
And that's what I'm working on, is the downline from after this is done. So take care of future problems.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the way forward then, please. On the money.
Do the money.
Make a motion. What do you want?
What you propose?
So I'll make a motion, get the discussion going. I'll make a motion that we take $40,000 out of the contingency fund to donate to Round Mountain Water and Sanitation District to help offset the waste disposal costs.
And with the intent to backfill it as we proposed before.
Sure, if you want to go that route.
Or whatever, I mean.
But my route's this way, and we're making it
We have another
contingent
meeting.
upon a bunch of other things, and I'd rather not make that part of my motion.
Okay, keep it clean.
We good? I'll second that motion and we accept the proposal. Our motion, excuse me.
Okay, discussion now. So we can pass this, like people have proposed. We can bankroll this. We will call another meeting later as soon as Dave gets the process rolling, and I would like to see somebody, and maybe it would be Ann or the districts, figuring out how they can contribute, as well as the mayors, with your trustees, and let's get back together with a way to help solve the rest of the problem, which is to share this cost My view. Okay, any other discussion on it?
Okay.
Okay, hearing none, I'll call, yeah,
You haven't opened it up for public comment.
okay, all right, I'm sorry. Well, I said any, I did open it up. Go ahead. Other comments?
I have a proposal. Why don't you just appoint a citizens committee to let us get you the funding that you need? I think within about a week, you talk to enough people, we'll have you your $40,000. And then you can keep your county money, because we don't have any strings. I mean,
Okay, good point,
you
and
said you need it in how many days?
Wednesday,
Dave?
next week.
Wednesday,
By
but
the
what we
15th of April, tax day.
That
Well, I
would
like,
be-
all right, let me modify, I like that idea, personally, this is my opinion. We're gonna bankroll it, we can appoint a committee, we can get, I would ask for volunteers to let us know in our next meeting, we can stand that up on the 10th, I think, is that our next meeting?
Yeah, it is.
And then, with the intent, we can clarify exactly what that committee's gonna do, get the donation coming and reimburse back the communities, the $40,000 and share it broader, perhaps, I don't know, or not at all. And we'll propose an amount from each if we have to. Go ahead, Kathy.
Kathy Griffin, can you change the wording of the motion to say up to 40,000?
Yeah, I could do that.
Because in that way you leave a little more.
We can be flexible, reimburse it, we end up doing 20.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. I'm just a little bit concerned
We're
about
not set into one
the
figure.
Well,
fuel
so,
fire you may fuel by making it 40,000, when we have these other ideas.
but Dave needs to make his commitment.
Right,
And he needs that 40,000 to make his commitment, and he really shouldn't make that commitment without having the money up front, going, yep, this is what I've got to make that commitment.
But up to doesn't change that.
right.
You can
And
spend it
that's
all.
what I'm saying, and it just seems like it might leave the community feeling a little bit better, like your
More
door is
invested.
open.
We say up to. You okay with that?
But we're gonna write the check out for 40,000.
Right.
It's not up to 40,000, we're gonna make the check
He's gonna
out for
tell us, so
40,000.
he's gonna ask us for 40,000.
So,
It's okay.
and anybody that donates money should donate directly to the treasurer, because then you get it as a tax write-off.
Right, we can.
So if you make it all to, let's say Butch Washington, and Butch Washington comes in, he's gonna, whatever money he's got, he's gonna get the tax deduction, not all the individual.
All right,
people. So,
very good point. We can move it, because what we can do is stand up that committee with a little more definition of what we expect out of them and define, put the check into the county treasurer, et cetera.
Yeah, if
So
it
let's
works,
leave it
but
clean like it
if
is.
If it doesn't feel, clean, we need Dave to get the job done.
I wish we had more time, because if we would've had more time, Dave and the board could've went to each taxing district during a month and said, hey, we're asking you for this, we need it by this date.
And we did it in 2 days, they noticed. And I told them all, and Lucas did, bring your checkbook with you. And they, well, the trustees, you got an issue, you gotta do it legally. All right, we'll keep the clean motion. Any other comments on it? Okay, all in favor, say aye. Paul?
Aye.
Lucas?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay, so we got a resolution, motion passes. So resolution number 2525 is the donation to Round Mountain Water and Sanitation District is what we've got now.
Using the LATCF funds.
Right.
So that needs to be a vote, that has to be a vote.
Right, so read it.
You're reading the resolution. We need a vote to use.
Yeah, we did, we just did the vote.
Well, we made them, did that motion have LATCF?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it did.
All right, then that covers that one,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay,
Just making
so
sure
our finance director will read the resolution that we'll discuss.
Resolution 25-25, a resolution appropriating additional sums of money to defray expenses in excess of amounts budgeted for Custer County, Colorado. Whereas the Custer County Contingency Fund has obligated funds within the fund balance, which you just obligated, an appropriation of $40,000 will be appropriated from the fund balance. Now therefore be resolved by the Board of County Commissioners of Custer County, Colorado, Section 1, that the 2025 appropriation of $40,000 be made from the fund balance of contingency fund 30. Section 2, that this appropriation be designated into unforeseen contingencies to assist in waste remediation and disposal in conjunction with Round Mountain Water of Custer County.
Good, thanks. Okay, I move we approve Resolution 2525, a donation to Round Mountain Water and Sanitation District for the specified amount and the use. Second? Do we have a second?
Oh, it's a motion? I'll second that motion. I
Don't have
already
to.
did that.
We didn't move the resolution yet, just read it. Okay. Okay, any other discussion from anybody?
I just want to clarify that Wednesday is the 9th of April.
Were we meeting on Wednesday? I thought it was
No.
the 10th.
Ours is the 10th, but
But
this is
Dave needs.
Wednesday,
Oh, Dave.
the 9th.
Yeah, we're actually meeting, an emergency meeting tomorrow.
Well, you can do your thing and we're
Right.
gonna get
Yeah.
caught up.
We'll actually now move on your motion.
But I believe it was the actual contract was gonna be signed on the 9th.
Yeah.
That's okay,
We'll
you're
probably-
covered.
Yeah.
I just
That
wanted to
would be-
reemphasize it.
And we will, on the 10th, we'll discuss the Citizens Committee to work with people,
and see what we can come up with.
okay? I really appreciate everybody being here.
Yeah.
They came, you cared, we all care.
And on behalf of Round Mountain, thank you. I'm grateful for your partnership.
Okay, so we've had a motion, let's vote. All in favor of approving Resolution 2525, Lucas?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
Kanda, aye. Okay, thank you. If there's a comment on this, I'll take it, but I'm not gonna talk about anything else right now. I will if you want to, I was just saying.
Need to
Right now. Anything else, people?
We just need to close this.
Okay, I adjourn the meeting at 2:10.